Hi guys, it's Mike with another Guild of Guardians video. We're doing a spotlight video highlight on Bahram. He is a Solus Intelligence Imperial support champion, and we're going to take a quick peek at his kit here. We did get him outfitted to about 580,000 power was the best I could do, so I couldn't quite get him in that 6 to 650 range. But he's actually using the exact same gear set that we've been running through all these other players. So if we jump over to his skills, his ultimate ability is 3 wishes. He's going to randomly target and attack 3 enemies, deal 120% of attack as magic damage. The first attack reduces the target's attack by 20% for 5 seconds. The second reduces the target's defense by 20% for 5 seconds. And the third will reduce their attack speed by 20% for 5 seconds. So this is moving from multiple enemies and randomly attacking. I guess theoretically it could hit the same enemy 3 times, but each one is going to be doing kind of a random decrease of their effectiveness. So that is a cool ability, but it's hard when you start adding these random elements into an ability to be able to really count on them. For example, you'd really want to hit this attack down on a Darizda or a damage dealer versus, say, a Flix. And he might hit Flix with that ability. The defense down you'd probably want to put on a tank, but you might end up putting that on a Darizda in the back row. Right? So if these attacks are not hitting the people that you really want them to hit, they could be significantly less effective than you'd really want them to be. His second ability is Meteor Storm. It's an AoE crowd control ability. Targets the nearest enemy and deals 225% of attack as magic damage and causing knockup. So it does say the nearest enemy, but it is also saying it's an AoE ability, so it might have a area around it that would knock up several characters if they're congested in the same area, even though it's only doing damage to that initial enemy. And then his passive is Wish Collection. When allies use a skill, they generate a wish. When 10 wishes are collected, a random buff will be granted to all allies for 5 seconds. The buff can either increase damage, defense, or attack speed. So running through 10 ultimate abilities is probably going to be several rooms, depending on how hard the rooms are. So this is probably a pretty sparse passive ability. It probably is not happening that frequently, and again we're struggling with that randomness where you might really need that extra defense, but he's, you know, speeding your team up or something like that, so that could be a little bit rough. But looking over his kit, all of his functions are damage dealing and focused on attack, so ideally you would be able to build him with attack boots. Unfortunately I don't have any. We have the HP boots that we've been using this whole time. But we do have the extra attack coming in from Darizda's crossbow. So I think his attack should be pretty high, but ideally you would have him in attack boots as well, just to increase the amount of damage that he can do. So we're going to go ahead and head over to the Great Forge, get Bahram in there, and see what he can do for us. Alright, so we are entering that first room. We're going to go ahead and click Fight, take it off 2 times, and see how he does here. He also does not have any healing abilities in his kit, so he's going to have to just muscle his way through the whole thing. Here is his 3 random hits. He killed that guy first shot, and that was his AoE ability. It looks like it goes into a congested area, so that might be a little bit of a typo because it says it attacks a single enemy. I don't think it said single enemy, but it didn't say enemies. It wasn't plural, so that was a little bit misleading, but that damage did come in and take out that entire group of enemies, so he does hit pretty hard as far as that goes. But that would be a isolated or a specific area AoE ability, so like a Nara, where enemies could probably avoid it if they're not in the area of damage, versus a Tala, which is the AoE is going to hit everybody, or a Tuskrog where it hits everybody. So it's just kind of something to keep in mind. So he hit this person twice and then somebody right up front here. So that will go through and bring their defense down, bring their attack speed down, and bring their damage down. And I forget which order that happens in, but that's going to be how he's affecting those. So that was a pretty strong hit there. He got a crit, and then that was his AoE ability. There's only one guy left. Alright, so we are moving into that 5th and final room. We're going to get this underway. I did use Bahram starting out on my account. It was, I think, the second epic that I got my hands on. And he did do a little bit of work for me. Looking at how fast he moves through these waves, I think a lot of his damage is single target. His AoE ability is locational and kind of intermittent at best. I think the randomness of his ultimate ability is a little bit unfortunate, and he definitely doesn't clear these waves as fast as somebody with more predictable AoE damage. So I think there are definitely better choices. You can move into a Palmera, we just saw from Tala. She does a great amount of work. Marana also would be a better choice, I think. But if you're just getting started and he's the first or second epic that you pull, he can do some work for you early game. But I probably wouldn't carry him too far into the mid game. There's definitely some better choices out there. But he did make it through all 3 waves. It got a little bit dicey there with some of the stuns that came in. But all in all, he has an interesting kit. I think the randomness of his effects are a little bit rough. And then this Meteor Storm, if it were more predictable and hit everybody, I think he would definitely be a lot better. But the way he's sitting right now, I'd say he's definitely kind of on the lower tier. But if you're early enough in the game, he can be better than a lot of the rares out there. So that's about what I got for Bahram. I hope you found that helpful. I look forward to getting more of these highlight videos out there, so as you pull champions, you can kind of figure out which champions are the right way to go, how to build them, who to pair them with. I think we talked about him. If you have the opportunity to get attack boots on him, that would be the way to go, but he's probably going to be a little squishy as it is. So it might be kind of tough to not have HP boots or defense boots on him. Definitely want to pair him with some sort of healer because he has no healing in his kit. So it's a Ferulia early on, or a Flix or an Aquirus. And then I would probably look to replace him sooner than later as you get better damage dealers that we talked about. So hope you found that fun, and I look forward to seeing you next time.